Alina, let's talk about what you are getting yourself into these days.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to live younger for longer, right? When we're talking about longevity, everyone is thinking about, oh, actually, I don't want to live forever. But the reason why they're saying it is because subconsciously they're thinking, when I'm growing old, I don't want to live like on the bed, like in hospital forever. But it's actually scientifically very hard to keep you alive that way. When we say about longevity and keep you young, that means similar to like you are going to be look like yourself after 50 years old or 100 years old. Basically what we are doing is we're stopping time and stopping exactly where you're at your peak level. And we shouldn't be just stopping this in lab. I was doing research in Harvard with George Church in his lab. There's so many cool stuff that we are doing in lab. From Irina, which is my co-founder, she invented plasma exchange 20 years ago, where Brian Johnson and a lot of people are changing blood with like young blood boys. This is not as supposed to be done. Like science has already proven that the reason why it's working is not because of young blood. So let's push this a little bit further actually into your hand and make it more accessible so people can actually use that technology instead of just publishing paper or IPs. So that is my vision and why I got into myself into longevity. Like, let's push this into your head. So you have this epic tech that can actually stop aging.
So, okay. So you're talking about, first of all, the plasma exchange. You're saying getting a person's young plasma is not really why plasma exchange is so helpful.
Yeah.
I understand there are two ways of doing it. One is just, replacing your blood volume with some albumin. The other one is actually to infuse another younger person. And like Brian Johnson's case, I think he got plasma from his 18-year-old son, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, what's the scientific basis for your statement?
Yeah. So the science really begins starting from 2002, where Irina Comboy and Mike Comboy discovered that parabiosis between young mice and old mice, like literally searching them together, making them blood exchange, is able to be reversing old mouse biological age. So the old mouse is starting to be gaining more muscle, lower inflammation. They're running faster. They're having like from gray hair turning back to black. That is amazing, right? And that's when people are realizing that, oh, is that because of the young blood that the old mouse is getting? But actually it's not the case. So in 2020, we published a paper that's a clinical trial called old plasma dilution reduce human biological age, which means instead of searching two mouse together, we actually did a study that if you are not giving in any of the young plasma, just purely diluting the old blood with saline plus 5% of the albumin, can you still see the similar results? Because there's two ways of interpreting these results. One is dilution of the old blood is able to make you young. And another thing is young blood can make you live longer. And turns out to be it's having a similar effect of the plasma exchange, which means the core mechanism why it's working is actually the dilution of the old plasma, which is able to be reducing all of the inflammatory factors like IL-4, IL-6, IL-8s in your body that's always chronically inflamming in your body, and you're never able to be getting it out. That's why it's suppressing all of the good stem cells in your body or good cells from regenerating. So lowering inflammatory factors and cell cytokines and also boosting the rejuvenation. That is the impact of the plasma dilution. So that's when we realize that, oh, it's not the young blood it's working. It's actually the dilution of the old plasma. And there's a lot of things like this. As you see, science is having a very big gap between clinical application. Like therapeutic plasma exchange has already been approved for 20 years in treating disease. Like, for example, after organ transplant, if you're having a immunorejection with other people's organ, TPE is the way how you remove all of the rejections and also all of the inflammation that's happening in your body. Similar to that, after chemotherapy, if you're having cancer, TPE, therapeutic plasma exchange, is also a way to get rid of all of the cytokines that has been accumulated in your body that you cannot get rid of. But now we are seeing this study and this science is being even more further away. Like Brian Johnson is starting to be doing plasma exchange by holding his big bag of the plasma that he is removing out from his body. So here is an exciting moment that we are seeing. Science is being forefront of everyone else. And there's innovators like these billionaires, they're willing to try. And this is a safest way that we have been seeing. FDA has been approved to treating disease, but now can extend into longevity or even reversing biological age.
Wow. So they didn't see any extra benefit by bringing in a young plasma.
So there is some of that, but it's not significant. So think about if you're having a very big junk in your body and you're throwing new fruits, like fresh fruits, into those junk. Does that making that a lot of junk being healthier or being more alive? No, it's actually making that fruit is like becoming rotten and older faster. So it's not about what you're adding into it. You have to get rid of the bad stuff first so that your body is clean enough to able to be regenerating.
That's a great analogy. I have to use that. Yeah, like a pile of rotten fruit and you're throwing really nice young plump fruit into it. Yeah, what's going to happen? Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.